The next person we're going to talk to here is, if these guys are kind of talking about the craft, how easy it is to do, at the same time as they mentioned, with great skill, it takes more.
Yeah.
The next two panelists are about how, although actually there's a little overlap with Jeff here, but it's going to be thinking about how are actually both campaigns starting to think about this, and also how are elected officials and government starting to do it with this, and how do we actually start moving this into the real stuff of our business, the real stuff of campaigning, the real stuff of government. And so the next speaker up is going to be Jeff Weingarten, and he's the president of Interface Media Group, and this is one of the, again, the shops in town that has been keeping up to the constantly changing media ecology that's been happening over and over and over. And I think you've been there since the late 80s, but now he's the president, and he has been involved. He's going to talk a little bit about some of his work with the presidential campaigns, and also some of the private sector innovators at where it's going next. Jeff?
Good. Thanks, Pete. All righty. Well, we've been we're a post house, a production company, and we've been doing political advertising for 30 years. Actually, it's been almost to the day 30 years ago that we started. After the '76 election, Tom Angel, our founder, got together and decided that folks like Bob Squire and Doug Bailey needed a place to take film, which at that time it was all film, and take that film and get it into videotape and find a way to massage that and turn that into commercials. So since then it changed quite a bit, as we've just heard. But what was really interesting in the past 30 years is to watch how film then, it was small, and then we turned it into video, and we had to bicycle it around to actually get it to stations, to what happened with distribution. And the next crazy thing was FedEx, which was all the spots. We then started FedExing them all over the country, which has then transitioned into DG, which is electronic delivery. So we're delivering the spots electronically to all the stations. And who we work with is we work with the consultants. So the consultants come in, pretty much the majority of the consultants in the city are our clients. And we work with them to craft their message. So we have basically two real focuses. One is what I call the artistic creative focus, and the other is the technology. And we're kind of focusing on the technology here today. But the artistic part of the craft is actually equally important, which is what is the message, how do you edit it. You have audio folks who pick the music that's going to go with it, compose, etc. You have the editors, which Phil's doing a mashup, but you also have folks who are trying to tell that story. So the technology side is the other real interesting part for today, which is what we do is we're out there searching. We're out there finding what the next technology is and how can we introduce it to our clients, who then in turn introduce it to the campaigns, which they use to actually reach the voters. And so in that respect, what has been happening now with this explosion of the web is that the ability to reach an audience has dramatically changed. And the mashup is a prime example of that. Jib Jab is a great example. But the other thing that's happening is also webcasting. And now candidates are actually going out and they're reaching out to their to the audience directly through a webcast. And the webcast has a bunch of beauties to it. If I can get this thing to work here.
Aaron, if you want to.
But the so most recently, someone fix this for me. Is what we did is we worked. We have a studio. So the studio's downtown. And we've been doing these webcasts for folks like the Clinton campaign, for Steve Case, who launched Revolution Health last week. And so what we want to do here is just kind of show you some of the beauties of that. Are you can get out of what all Dan's got going on here.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay. Is two things happen. One is you get to register the people who are going to be watching that webcast. So to watch that cast, you actually get to sign up. So here's an example of that right here from the Hillary webcast, which is to watch it, the information went out, and then you were able to, you signed up. So when you were done, the campaign not only had your email address, it had where you live and all that good information, so they can now take advantage of that, which is to get you involved, to solicit funds, to send you more information, to send you the link to the latest piece of video that they're going to produce. And that's kind of what's happening for us with consultants, is we're producing maybe, it could be 2,000, 3,000 individually different spots in a campaign. And of those spots, then we're making multiple copies and sending those out. So now what you have the ability to do is to create a spot, take that spot, and then feed it to your audience. Also, you're able to publish it. So you can publish it to YouTube. You can publish it to your own site. And if you're publishing it to your own site, then the question becomes, how do you drive traffic? So which is, how do you get these new viewers that you want to see to the site to watch this work that you've just created? So then you get into what we're calling search engine optimization, which is these tags that you saw Dan put on the clip he just uploaded. He put in, New Politics Institute, but the tag could be for the Apple computer spot. It could be Apple. So suddenly everyone who's a Mac fanatic, like all of us up here, they're going to be interested in viewing that. And so you're able to then start driving an audience. And a large part of the marketing, which the private sector has been doing for quite some time, which is just now making it over into the campaigns, is how to actually use those tools on the web that come with the web, e-marketing, viral advertising, use that to drive these people to the site, so now you're exposing them to your message. So there's a couple things that come out of that, one of which, so here we had this, let me just show you the actual cast here if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. So in this particular case, Hillary came in and was in our studio, and should start playing. Maybe not. Perhaps not. And so she's talking from our studio. So the studio's in downtown DC, and she's reaching out through this webcast to folks everywhere, and it's not coming up. Let's try refreshing that. Anyway, let's try one more time. Try this one. And so here's Steve Case's, which we did last week, where in this particular instance, what you do is he's speaking from over on Connecticut Avenue at his office, and then you're driving alongside that. Off to the right here, as you see these slides. And the slides, what they're doing is showing his website, which is now being launched. So you can do the same thing with the campaign, which is while that's going on, in addition to the information that you want to present, you're seeing the person talking, you're also driving this information here, which you can then feed, or it can be questions from the audience, and then you get this interaction between the user, the viewer, and the person who's actually speaking. So this has been, has become a huge technique for us, and in addition, what's happening is it's very possible now people are talking about actually having a presidential debate using that technology, and perhaps having that debate with the candidates in different locations. I don't know why that one's not playing. So what do you have happening there now? So now what you have is the ability to reach an audience through the web that you weren't able to do before, and then in addition now, it starts to become a digital rights management issue. So we start talking about being able to mash up, but is the campaign daring enough to actually take all the raw footage that you're creating when you make these commercials and actually put it in a repository where user-generated content could be created from that? Similar to where GM did those ads, which kind of got out of control, where they were having people make the ads for their trucks and then turned around and became part of the environmental movement. So those are the issues that we're kind of fighting with there. But that's all there and ready for you to use. The other thing that's real interesting right now is there's two real types of things happening on the web. There's the website and the video, and which we're calling traditional web video. And then there's what really is IPTV, which is television transformed over onto the internet, which is the computer crawling inside your television, and you're at home now watching from your computer as opposed to from your cable set-top box. But you're getting the information through your computer, but you're able to watch it on your screen. So the way that's working is that you are able to, you have people like Juice. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Juice. The Juice is the Skype folks and the Kazaa people. So what they've done is they're now into a peer-to-peer file sharing network. And what they're doing is we're now feeding, in addition to doing politics, we also do films and regular commercials and corporate work and lots of other things, is we're formatting existing shows for them to use. So they're taking these shows, let's say it's a half-hour National Geographic documentary, and we're going in and we're putting in a, right here, and we're putting in a second of black. So you see a commercial break. Now you've reformatted the show into this 1 second of black. Now what's the big deal about that? These guys are then going to be able to play that back, and you're going to be able to watch that show. But what happens is, just like Google now is making all that money through being able to optimize the ads that are on the right-hand side of the screen when you're watching. So the ads are optimized to your preferences as you're browsing the web. So if you're a rock climber, you're going to start seeing ads for North Face, and you're going to start seeing ads for hiking boots, whatever, on the right-hand side of the screen. Well, what's going to happen with folks like Juiced is that you're going to be watching this television show, which is going to feel like television, which is going to show up on your screen at home, but actually they're going to have your user preferences from actually browsing on the web. So when that 1 second of black comes up, they're going to now play an ad, a commercial that is based upon your preferences, stuff that they know that you might be interested in. And they're going to be able to track that. So they're now able to then cater that advertising towards what your interests are, and they're able then to do that. So really the challenge is how do political consultants, how do campaigns now take advantage of this type of technology so that you have a targeted audience, you have or you're trying to expand the audience you want to get to, you now have this demographic data. I mean, pollsters love this stuff. So you're able to then, you're on the internet, you can see who's watching your ad, where they're from, what the IP address is, and then take that and utilize that information now to customize the message that you're sending. So what we're doing is working to develop these technologies and find ways to take advantage of them so our clients and consultants can use them to get those campaigns further on. So, well, more questions in a minute, and off we go.